question come in. It says, what is going on in Antarctica?
Favorite subject. Antarctica has been and I mean this, when I wrote my book, Empire Beneath the Ice, How the Nazis Won World War II, people have got to understand that Antarctica was, even in the 1500s, free of ice. If they take the Piri-Reis map and other maps, the amount of information of ancient civilizations and ancient energy forces in Antarctica were enough to drag the most powerful people in the world down there, or beckon them, from the Pope to Kirill, the Russian Patriarch, Vladimir Putin. We've got, obviously, John Kerry went down there. Obama did go down there, although it wasn't announced. Pope, what's his name, has been down there, the current one. And I'm sorry, but that's how I refer to it. So something's going down there. The energy forces that you are now seeing experienced in the waveforms coming out of Antarctica are absolutely astonishing. Look at what's happening to Europe, their weather, their temperatures. You're seeing world record lows. You're seeing absolute storms. And you can literally watch it's like if somebody turned on a transmitter that's been dormant for all these years. I've talked to people that have been beneath the ice. They talk about a tropical paradise, similar to the old movies where the Nazi U-boats go in under certain Doug McClure movies. I forget what they were called, but they're really good, in my opinion. Oh, The Land That Time Forgot, And so I even posted on my website. And
wasn't he in Bermuda Triangle too?
Well, he may have been, but this was everything that we're talking about is Antarctica, okay? Yeah. And Antarctica is interesting because obviously you're in the southern hemisphere, and southern hemisphere is the best place to observe, and has been for the last decade, Planet X. And wouldn't you know it, one of the one of the older science fiction shows was basically the men from Planet X. I'm doing a project, maybe letting the cat out of the bag, but for Branson, I'm going to have a pretty interesting presentation. Apart from my main presentation, you were there, so I like to do the video one on Mars and stuff.
Yeah,
great. And people from all over the world love those things. So the idea from Antarctica specifically is this: that when Admiral Byrd in 1947 went down there with Operation High Jump, we got our heads handed to us on a platter by the Germans. About 1/3 of the German High Command and their technology went to Antarctica. They called it New Schwabenland. Operation Paperclip. Listen to me, and I'll share something. I've never said this on anybody's show, but I guess it's right to share this.
Okay.
I talked to Greg Evenson days ago, and his uncle was a personal friend of Dr. Wernher von Braun. Anybody that doesn't know who Wernher von Braun is, especially the German space scientist, the head of NASA, the point is Dr. Wernher von Braun told Greg's uncle that he had been personally taken to a planet called Arion, A-R-I-A-N or A-R-I-O-N, as in Aryan. And von Braun was a member of the SS, but von Braun and Hermann Oberth were the two smartest rocket scientists in the world. And they both are on record as saying, Oberth said there's two types of technology, ours and theirs. He also said we Germans weren't smarter than the West, we just had help. Heinrich Himmler's occult library, 13,000 volumes, was found, less than maybe 2 years ago. 13,000 volumes. I've detailed in my book, Empire Beneath the Ice. I don't know if you can put it up, but I would say this. Empire Beneath the Ice has been the most phenomenally accepted book I've ever written, next to Genesis 6 Giants. And Empire Beneath the Ice, there's enough footnotes in there to make everybody happy, okay? And in the flying saucer realm, if you think about this, 1947 was Roswell, too. So when you're talking about the different high command of Germany sitting in a seance with some woman who's giving birth out of her birth canal to an ectoplasmic projection that's dictating advanced math and engineering equations. And by the way, this is a matter of fact. This isn't just, they were all sitting around having a great time smoking something. But the idea is that the amount of intelligence gathered from another dimension, the spiritual dimension, the fallen angels, and by the way, the occult nature of the Third Reich, occult just means hidden, okay?
Right.
But the fascination with it is what caused me to basically try and see how it would fit in. So understand this. If you look at the U.S. space program, entirely built by former Nazis, SS, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Operation Paperclip, but there were 8 other, and I'll tell you another interesting thing.
Okay.
Japan's famous Dr. Ishii, ISHI, Unit 731, was brought in the United States, given a new identity, and he was the, if you will, the original Island of Dr. Moreau guy that was doing human experimentation. Obviously, the Chinese don't like that guy, but we took the world's top scientists, brought him in, gave him hidden identities. But again, how is this? I'm sharing everybody that Greg Evenson passed away tonight, and yet 2 days ago, this is one of the things, Daniel, he wanted time to come on and talk about what he didn't get time to talk about. And I knew he was going to pass and go to be with Jesus. I knew it. Wow. Greg, in all the time that we had known each other, has never called me within a space of 10 minutes, a couple times in a row, and then followed up by another call. So it was an urgency. But that's one of the things he told me. He told me some other stuff, and right now, in honor of what's going on with his funeral and his family, I'll just shut up with that. But I will tell you that this whole issue of what's underneath the ice in Antarctica, we're talking about things that are mind-blowing. For instance, if somebody wants to know what's under the Antarctica, a spy once told me, look, I don't have on my phone 1-800-SPY, but he sought me out, and he said, let me tell you this. If you notice the Russians in Yamantau Mountain, that's where the Russian high command, he said it's like a city within a mountain. Yeah, you can look it up. I think it's Yamanatau or something like Yamantau. He said, imagine this, Steve, multiple times bigger than the Antarctic. Antarctica is a continent, okay? And there's 100 volcanoes, subsea volcanoes. So it's interesting that Jules Verne even was using Antarctica as his, if you will, his Vulcan, where, Captain Nemo went after 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And so it's heated by, if you will, volcanism, and they have an inner sun, okay? And they have life forms there that just haven't been seen. Now, if you're watching Antarctica, when I broke this story on what was going on in Antarctica 2 years ago, as it related to the Third Reich ruling the world, etc., then I said, watch the headlines. I said, Mars will become the most dominant theme in the headlines. Now, what are you seeing? Water on Mars, life form on Mars, hey, maybe bacteria on Mars, what are called cyanobacteria. Up here in Montana, I like down the canyon from Yellowstone National Park. Spent last year photographing it from a helicopter. Probably got more time in a helicopter over Yellowstone Park photographing than anybody. I'm not bragging, but I get these dumb phone calls. Why do you live at Yellowstone? It's going to blow. And I said, listen, what found in Yellowstone, a little bacteria changed the history of the world forever. And, basically, Carrie Mullis got the Nobel Prize. Biochemistry, shared it with another guy. And basically, this bacteria made CRISPR technology, or gene splicing, possible, okay? And with that, Daniel, it changed the history of genetic engineering forever. In other words, you can combine anything with anything now.
Well, let me ask you something. Recently, in the headlines, a big earthquake hit around Anchorage, I think. But wells in Florida, their level dropped that far away. I don't know how many miles that was. 3,600 miles. Is it that perhaps that water went into some of those underground voids? It'd have to go somewhere.
Well, yeah, and water levels. The aquifers, the Ogallala Aquifer. That's a mouthful. The Ogallala Sioux was one of the Native American tribes, but the Ogallala Aquifer, that pretty much is a central main reservoir of water in the Midwest. The right earthquake, for instance, on the New Madrid or something, is going to affect that. But it's just like in Montana. Typically, when Alaska has a major volcanic explosion or anything, we'll get sympathetic earthquakes in Montana. I've been in Yellowstone Park when there were over 800 microquakes in one day. I never felt one of them, okay? Now, saying that, as I came on with you tonight, 2 hours ago, I got a friend, Brad, I won't say his last name, said, Steve, we just had the weirdest thing happen. The taste of our water, he lives, I think, around Clearwater, Florida. Okay. He said the water's changing. We've got minerals in the water. So something's leaking someplace. So what I call it is sympathetic fracture zones, okay? It's kind of like when you hit a piece of glass with a hammer, where you get the point of impact, but then you get all the little spreading, kind of like fistulas off to the side, or fissures. That's what's happening. And I can say this, the greatest migrations in history in the United States, from even the time of recorded history in the United States, will take place after the great quakes that are coming, because water will be the most important substance for life. Look, you can go a while without eating, you can make do, but without water, you're toast. Imagine this, the Cascadia region, now they're talking about Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, they're talking about the entire West Coast. You're seeing accelerating earthquakes, and obviously everybody's laughing, the California, we've been hearing that for years. Well, I wouldn't be smart alecky at this point. I've told people the newest fault line goes right along Santa Monica Boulevard. Are you familiar with the LA area very well?
No.
Okay. Santa Monica Boulevard basically goes right in from the beach at Santa Monica all the way through Hollywood, down into, East LA, if you just follow it far enough. It goes through Hollywood, Rodeo Drive, all that stuff. But it's interesting because that's the same area that, what's his name? The guy that did the movie on the great earthquake in California. Good special effects. I can't even think of it now. Something Day or something. The point being is that people have poo-pooed that. But interestingly enough, that's on the La Brea tar pits, okay? The La Brea tar pits are on that route. And so I've been telling people in California, you hear that the La Brea tar pits are starting to bubble up and bubble over, and they're starting to see temperatures rise there. I would get out of that area. Now, look, I can't tell people to flee. They'd say, but here's what's going to happen, in my opinion. At some time between now and next year, there's going to be, let's say, 6-7 point earthquake in California.
All right.
They'll basically, they'll make it through. There'll be some damage, and then they'll high five it. And the weird things they do in California, they'll even get worse. And then the big one comes. And I'm not sure if it's going to start on the Juan de Fuca and move south, okay? And I'm not sure if it's going to necessarily start in San Diego and move into the area around Borrego Springs. But I'll tell you one thing. The San Andreas will not be the primary focus of the main one. It will be what I would say an east to west fault more than a north to south fault. But the Cascadia region, we've got Mount St. Helens now is becoming again active. We've got the situation on Mount Rainier. I was on the top of Mount Rainier a couple years ago in a helicopter. Doors open, I was freezing my face off. I look like your hat, okay? I mean, I was solid. My camera looked like your hat, but I got some great pictures above the clouds and everything. But I could not shake the feeling. I said, I wonder if those people, and I was looking, obviously, I was on the summit, not by my feet, but by the helicopter, looking to the west, where the ocean was. And I said, I wonder if these people have any clue what's going to happen, meaning Seattle, the whole area. Because Cascadia now has become the #1 primary area of concern. And I posted a story, you probably saw it, not necessarily on my website, but the story about the Cascadia subduction fault zone.
Yep.
Too much activity, and the ring of fire now is disturbing.